This episode is brought to you by Disney's Lilo and Stitch, only in theaters this Memorial Day. A reimagining of Disney's animated classic, Lilo and Stitch is the wildly funny and touching story of a lonely Hawaiian girl, Lilo, and the fugitive alien Stitch, who helps to mend her broken family. Lilo and Stitch crashes into theaters May 23rd. Rated PG. Get tickets now.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
I knew it. Another Herdat Media production.
Hi, Chantel.
Hey, Roxanne.
So we actually released an episode yesterday where we're covering everything in regards to Diddy's trial, which, by the way, it's going to be 8 weeks long. I didn't even realize it's going to be 8 weeks. So you guys are going to get a lot of Diddy content from us. And I think you guys were very happy and pleased that we were doing this. We didn't say that we were going to do it in advance. And already it's been day 3 and a lot's happened. And Chantel, I appreciate you giving a trigger warning on our last episode because I totally failed to do that.
Yeah, and it is really scary, sad stuff here.
Yeah.
I think especially because right now in this trial, it's Cassie, she's the one that's on the stand, and I'm sure it's going to get even worse, but I think a lot of people are interested in the Cassie stuff because she's never been able to speak.
Yeah. So we're recording this Thursday. We're going to cover day 3. Day 4, I thought day 3 was her last day, but day 4 is cross-examination for her. So they're probably going to really put her through it. And it's just crazy to think about it because she's so pregnant. But just in day 3, so much happened. So again, she took the stand Wednesday in the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial unfolding in New York. Listen to our last episode for part 1 and 2. She gives an emotional testimony accusing Diddy of raping her, physically abusing an employee and subjecting her to years of escalating violence during their 11-year relationship. So nearly 9 months pregnant, she resumed her testimony by walking the jury through disturbing hotel surveillance footage from 2016. She described Diddy screaming at her before hurling a vase in the elevator lobby just moments before he launched into a violent assault. She says, "I didn't get hit. I remember it hitting the wall. He was yelling at me and threw it at me," adding that Diddy told her that I wasn't going to leave him there, that I couldn't. The jury was then shown 2 photos of Cassie that she says she took of herself after the hotel assault, where she is seen with a swollen lip. She said she also had a black eye beneath her sunglasses. So people who were, in the court, they weren't able to see this, just the jurors were. But according to people that were actually there, they're saying that the jurors were they were gasped. They were just so shocked and baffled when they saw these photos.
Because I feel like it's one thing when you're especially in a courtroom, imagine you're just hearing all this this jargon, the loud words, big words, all these things. But then when anybody, even me, I'm more of a visual learner. If I saw a video, that's when it would just be done for me.
Yeah. The jury was also shown text messages between Diddy and Cassie after the assault where she told him, "You're sick for thinking it's okay to do what you did to me." And she then tells him, "I have a black eye." And Cassie was asked again about the various escorts she says she was forced to hire with Diddy's money to take part in those extreme sexual scenarios over marathon sessions that Diddy, again, referred to as freak-offs. And she says, "That was my job, really. It was expected of me." She told the court that if she said no to a freak off or told Diddy she didn't want to do it, quote, "it would be a problem. We'd end up fighting," adding that the violence was always quote, a concern if we weren't agreeing on something. In a 2016 text message shown in court, Diddy is seen asking Cassie to have a proper freak off without the use of ketamine. Is that how you say it, Chantal?
Ketamine.
Yeah, ketamine.
Which that's just so crazy that like she's like always on these drugs to, you know, probably block out things and like get to another like area in her head. And like now he's telling her like, I don't want you to use it.
And I apologize, I'm super sheltered, but isn't ketamine like super intense?
It's used in like more in a physical like a therapy session. Like you can get it done, and it's supposed to like open up stuff in your mind that you had closed off, or like get you through some trauma. But they use it in very small doses.
Yeah. Diddy claimed that a successful freak off was only when we remember. That's what he told her. So he's literally texting her and he's like, I want you to be off of it because a freak off will be better when we actually remember what's going on, which is like so sick and disturbing. And you guys, what money and power does to people, it just makes me think of his relationship with J-Lo. Like, you know, I think we talked about this one time, but there was a clip where Wendy Williams told J-Lo, you need to get back with Diddy. And J-Lo's mom was in the audience and she was like, no. And it's like, I wonder what J-Lo knows. I keep seeing TikToks, you guys, and people are like, you guys want to pick and choose who you want to hold accountable. But Jay-Z was Diddy's best friend. You think Jay-Z didn't know what was going on? And everyone's like going off and saying, I don't care if that's Beyonce's husband. You don't think Jay-Z knew what was happening?
No, I'm sure a lot of people knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But it's like so hard sometimes because you're like, are you like, you could maybe tell him like, stop doing these things. And like, you feel better about yourself for doing that. And you're like, I don't think you should be doing these things. Like as a friend, like, hey, you need to knock it off. You're going to get in trouble. And if he doesn't listen, then like, he doesn't listen. Like, what are you supposed to really do? You're going to go and like, really, you're going to be the one to snitch on him and take him to like,
no, but you're not friends with people like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have friends like that. This is a fucked up person. This is someone who is unwell, who thinks he's above people. You don't have friendships like this. This is fucking weird, you know? And we're going to talk about an A-list actor who's come out against him. So I did research a little bit about that because they're finally now opening up. And then we see that Justin Bieber stuff. Like Justin Bieber has stayed silent on the Diddy things, but so much speculation that Diddy did stuff to him as well. And there's also a clip of Diddy, you know, patting down Justin Bieber when Justin Bieber approaches him to make sure he's not mic'd up. Like, what the fuck, you guys? That is so crazy to me. And this is where it goes back to parents and even me as a parent and things of that. You know, Justin Bieber's mom leaving her son probably quite a bit with Diddy. And it's like, you think, well, they're an A-list celebrity. They're not going to do anything. But we are not supposed to trust anybody. The world is a sick place, as we can see. And so it's just a learning lesson for parents that no matter what, you do not trust the person, whether they're successful, have everything to lose, this rich, good, even like people who are like, holy, it doesn't matter. You know, the only people you can control at the end of the day is like you, yourself, how you are with your children, and that's it. So, you know, it's just a big time learning lesson as well. She says, so while she was on stand, she says that she preferred ketamine during the freak offs because it was very I don't know how to say the word.
Disassociating.
Yeah.
So that means like she doesn't want her mind there.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, you guys. Like, I literally can't imagine. And this comes from The Guardian. It says Diddy would often threaten to release the videos he had of Cassie taking part in the freak offs. She noted that on her birthday one year, Diddy reminded her of the videos he had in his possession after she refused to leave her friends to go with him to a freak off. My God. So she says, quote, I feared for my career, my family. It is horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone. It could ruin everything I worked for, make me look like a slut. I wasn't supposed to be on those videos. I didn't want to be in them. I felt trapped. Whatever was going to not make him angry or threaten me, I was going to do.
So crazy.
Yeah. She testified that she would ask Diddy to delete videos of freak offs that were on his phone and that he would tell her he did. She would later see the videos still on his phone. She says that she experienced persistent urinary tract infections due to the constant freak-offs, but she was still forced to take part even when the pain was horrible. I mean,
Yeah, she said that she suffered from a lot of physical ailments, UTIs, mouth sores, all these things. And like, if any woman has had a UTI, you know how like horrible that is. And like, you're not supposed to be having sex around that time. Like, that is literally crazy to me.
yeah, and even during day 2 trial, she says that he made her still do it even when she was on her period. So it's just crazy. I mean, it's like he was watching, you know, how people are addicted to porn. He's watching it right in front of his face live.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was his pleasure.
Yeah.
Sick pleasure.
After such sessions, Cassie said that she felt empty emotionally and gross. Sometimes she said she would leave freak-offs if she felt unsafe, but would often return to the hotel room because Diddy or one of his employees would find her and bring her back. So again, she does drop names. There are assistants, his employees, everyone is aware of what is happening and they're okay with it. And I feel like those type of people need to be held accountable as well. During some
And I think that's what's scary too, is like when you think you're around someone and they have so many people, you're like, okay, if this person's bad, there's so many other people.
Yeah. During some freak-offs, Diddy would, quote, hit me on the side of the head and kick Cassie, which she said would prompt escorts who could hear the violence occurring to ask her afterward if she was okay. She's testified that, quote, it's impossible to know how many freak-offs she took part of, said the number was in the hundreds. And I mean, crazy. She says, he brought the idea to me when I was 22 and would do anything for him. And I did do that. She said as she got emotional. After their relationship ended in 2018, Cassie said that she never participated in a freak-off again. She said that same year, Diddy raped her after they were supposed to have a closure conversation. So she said they went for dinner. He brought her back to her home, and then he came inside. She says he then raped me on the living room floor. And then she starts crying as she's saying this.
Oh my
She's
God.
she's like, I also remember crying and saying no. It was fast. His eyes were black. He wasn't himself. It was like somebody taking something from you. After that incident, she said that she and Diddy were intimate voluntarily one other time. What do you think about that?
I just think it's just so sad because like imagine like you know, telling yourself like, okay, I'm done, like maybe feeling a little bit free about that decision, you know, and then like look what happens to you again.
You go back to it.
Yeah.
Even
And like
though
it's like
wrong
you're just so defeated.
Yeah. It's at a point where you view yourself so low that you keep running back to the biggest problem in your life.
Yeah, at that point you have clearly no confidence. You have nothing left in your like your own self-esteem, nothing, you know. So
yeah.
it's heavy.
On Diddy's violence outside the freak-offs, Cassie said there was an instance in 2013 when she was in her apartment and Diddy tried to attack her. Her two friends who were in the apartment at the time jumped on his back to protect her. Diddy was still able to throw Cassie down, cutting her eyebrow on the corner of her bed. Diddy took her to a plastic surgeon's office in Beverly Hills to fix the cut, and Cassie later texted him a photo of the wound and said, "So you can remember."
Oh my gosh.
Cassie told the court that sometimes she fought back against Diddy, but the fighting back would lead to escalating the fight, which sometimes made him even more violent. Multiple employees of Diddy saw him abusing her over the years, she said, including members of his security team, management, and assistants. Cassie even noted that one assistant told her that they quit because of how Diddy treated her.
Thank God, finally someone with the moral compass here. Because like, if I would like to assume that if I was working for a high profile, I was making good money. I'm sure these people are making good money, and I saw that, I would quit too, because I'd be like, that is not okay, and make sure like they knew I quit because of that. But you just never know. Like clearly, people like have to put their families first sometimes, and they're like, this is a great job, I need the money. So it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's no one's fault, but clearly who was in there, like Diddy and like whoever really attributed to this. But it is crazy that there were so many eyes, and you would think that someone would save her.
It sounds like a lot of people in Hollywood knew what was up, and no one has said anything. And it's crazy to me. Even, I mean, Okay, again, back to the Justin Bieber stuff. We know something happened there. There's some trauma there, and he's refusing to speak out. And at this point, Diddy's behind bars. So I wonder if people and celebrities are going to wait until he is found guilty. God willing, he's found guilty, and then they all start speaking out.
Yep.
And I don't blame them for doing that. This Holly Weird is like a cult, so everyone's scared.
I know, but if it can help him get into bars, like they should be speaking out, you know, like if it's gonna help him get into jail, actually, like you should be the one up there testifying your truth too.
Yeah. Cassie said that Diddy was violent with others as well as her. Sometimes the jury or something that the jury is going to be expected to hear more about from later witnesses for the prosecution. She told the court that he would assault some of his employees, both male and female. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine him doing that?
Well, yeah, I guarantee he knows how to find them. Like you find a specific type, you know, you find someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of family. It's like you find those certain people that are willing to, you know.
Yeah, you're targeting those people. I mean, remember, I don't know if you remember on Making the Band, Lori, she was the dancer and they used to go at it and fight each other. And I just felt like there was so much deeper issue with those two. And I wonder, you know, now if she would ever speak out. I don't know if you remember her. Do you?
I don't remember. No, it doesn't come to my mind like what she looked like.
Yeah. She says that he also attacked friends of hers, including punching people, throwing them into furniture. He dangled a friend of hers over a balcony. She also testified about her brief relationship with Scott Miscuddy. Oh, which is Kid Cudi. I'm like, who's Scott Miscuddy? That's also known as rapper Kid Cudi. She told the court that she dated Kid Cudi in 2011 during a period where she and Diddy were not in a good place. When Diddy learned she was dating Kid Cudi during a freak-off, she said that Diddy told her that he was going to hurt both of them and that he was going to have Kid Cudi's car blown up. And I think that actually did happen where his car was blown. But what's crazy to me is that she, in 2011, she says like she was dating Kid Cudi, but she was still participating in these freak-offs and going back to that. And even when she alleges that she was raped by Diddy in 2018, she says that's when she was now dating her now husband. She says that night they like went back and they had voluntary sex. So clearly like this man really messed her up in relationships. And I feel like a lot of times, and it sucks, there are women that there's that one man that they just keep going back to. And it's like, we got to protect Chantel, our kids, from finding that one man that could be like the worst thing that could ever happen to them. And I do think it comes a lot of the times from parents. And, you know, again, the whole Justin Bieber's mom, Cassie's mom, you know, just because these people are famous doesn't mean they have your best interest at all. Like, don't get so impressed by these people.
I think it's more from childhood, like teaching them things and maybe, I don't know, but like, because at the end of the day, like she met him when she was like 19 or 20, like 2021, like you would think that that's more of an adult. And it's like, even that can't save people.
Yeah.
This happens to people in like the 30s and 40s sometimes too. It really is so crazy. I don't think to this level, but definitely people where they're like, love bombed, abused, they keep going back to the same person, stuff like that, sex trafficked, for sure.
On Cassie's lawsuit in 2023 against Diddy, it accused him of physical and sexual abuse. The two ended up settling for a previously undisclosed sum. Everyone thought it was 30 million because that's what she was suing him for. The lawsuit prompted the federal investigation that led to Diddy's arrest in September of 2024. And during her testimony on Wednesday, Cassie told the court that the settlement ended up being $20 million. When asked why she was testifying in the trial, Cassie told the court that she couldn't, quote, carry this anymore, carry the shame, the guilt anymore. The way I was guided to treat people like they were disposable, right is right and wrong is wrong. I am here to do the right thing. That makes me emotional, dude.
Yeah, good for her.
I know. She, again, she's set to take the stand on Thursday for cross-examination. Diddy's defense attorneys plan to argue that any violence in the relationship was mutual domestic violence and they intend to present evidence of alleged violent interactions by Cassie unrelated to the allegations in this case.
Mutual, like seriously, oh, I can't. Like I would be so annoyed being up there or even watching it. But yeah, they're definitely going to show that. They're going to make it seem like everything was consensual, that everything was agreed on, which like, no, sorry.
I know. I watched statements from people in court that said that Cassie's husband during the trial would just stare at him in absolute disgust. And that Cassie throughout it all never once made eye contact with Diddy, but he looked directly at her.
Wow.
Yeah. They say that, if convicted, Diddy will spend the rest of his life in prison, which is valid. What's crazy is in 2018, Chanel, I don't think that you saw this. A video went viral of a man who got arrested, and he was telling a police officer about him being a sex slave for Diddy and Cassie. And the police officer literally stops him from talking about it. And I want to share a clip from it because I remember watching this years ago. And it's crazy because when I watched it, like this guy's like being, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This guy is being kind of like shut off. Have you ever seen it or anything?
No, but I feel like I guarantee there's been multiple reports, but nothing as substantial as like Cassie's like settlement and Cassie's thing that like that's why it's been taking this long. But I guarantee there was multiple reports about abuse, about other things, but nothing to this level, nothing to this like federal level.
Yeah, look, let me see. Tell me.
15 cars and a lots of business.
No, we can't really hear it.
Okay. I know it's because his voice is kind of like weird, but when you see this guy doesn't. I mean, I guess I did see a picture of him when he was like a little bit younger, but let's talk about this man. So Jonathan, his name is Jonathan Odie. He's a former adult film actor, and he's the man responsible for a 2018 shooting incident at the Trump National Golf Club in Miami. So during his interrogation, Odie made claims that he had been a sex slave for Diddy and his then girlfriend, Cassie. He alleged that he participated in approximately, this is what he's saying in this, by the way, approximately 15 encounters with the couple during which Diddy allegedly watched and directed the activities. Odie stated that he was paid about $800 per session, and then he ended up signing a $5 million non-disclosure agreement to remain silent, though he later provided a video as part of the settlement. These allegations have resurfaced Diddy's ongoing legal troubles. In May 2025, we know that Cassie obviously just testified. And when she testified yesterday, they show a picture of this man, Jonathan, and they ask her to verify if he was one of the 13 male sex workers hired during these freak-offs. And she confirms that he was one of these guys. So it's crazy because this was literally going on and became viral, but like no one did anything about it. Like everyone's like, I knew Diddy was shady, but then it kind of died down. And I don't know if people didn't believe him because of the incident he was in. I'm not sure, but it aligned with everything Cassie's saying. And
what happens with that 5 million? Like if Diddy wanted to go and sue him, like could he? Oh.
No. News Nation, he can't get his 20 million back from Cassie, News Nation reached out to Jonathan to talk about his claims and why he agreed to talk about Combs and Diddy and Cassie. So Jonathan told News Nation that he felt bad because I got along, this is quote, I felt bad. I got along really well with Cassie and I think she's a decent person. I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand what was going on in her life and what was happening. And him beating her up in the hotel shows me the type of individual he is. And that's everything that happened to me is true and correct and in line with his personality. So I don't know if he's insinuating that he was also beat up by him, but Cassie did testify that he also beat up men. Jonathan told News Nation he initially met Diddy after the rapper producer called an agency that Jonathan worked for and requested a show. Jonathan's comments were also similar to what he told the police in his 2018 interrogation. He also was like a Chippendale dancer back in the day. So he says, I got dressed. I'm in a police officer costume. I stripped down. And then, they offer me some more money to do extra stuff. The extra stuff included candles, a sensual atmosphere, and having the lights off. Diddy would, quote, sit in the corner on the sofa watching, masturbating. And he says he'd tell her, give her instructions on what to do to me, perform oral sex, rub baby oil. And he'd tell me to rub baby oil on her, perform oral sex, and have sex. Jonathan claimed he had around 15 sessions with Diddy and Cassie. And again, it was like 800 each time. Sometimes he'd call me twice. Even 3 hours later, he'd call me to come back. Can you just imagine that?
No. And I don't want to. Like, it's literally
Right.
sick.
Why do you need to watch that again? Why do you need to jack off again to that? Why do you need to pleasure yourself again?
He's also trying to escape from something in his own mind.
Yeah.
And like, this is what it helps him do that. It's an addiction.
Yeah. Jonathan also claimed the sessions were drug-fueled, noting that after Cassie passed out during one of their sessions, the concern that either Cassie or someone else would overdose led him to capture one of their sessions on video. He says, after she passed out, I decided to record that in the event anything was to happen. If she died or anybody died, it would be on camera, on video what happened. I didn't want to be responsible for any of that. He says he recorded the session on a USB memory stick from a specialty store that sells discrete devices. He says, quote, I put it on the table. I filmed the entire session. I had it transcribed. They had been threatening me, but Diddy would tell her what to say.
Hey cousins, wanted to make this your best season yet? I've been loving how easy it is to eat well with Factor. Nutritious meals, they're ready in just 2 minutes. No cooking, no cleanup, just heat and enjoy. I've been outside more getting steps in, and we might just start a challenge soon with this. And the last thing I want to do after is prep dinner. Thankfully, my Factor meals arrive fresh and are ready to go. This week, I had the chipotle rubbed chicken with roasted veggies. So good, it's refilling. I am not joking. I brought one the other day to work, and my sister and I were fighting over it. She works with me a couple days a week, and so now I have to bring her one because I don't want to fight over it. So with 45 weekly options, you can choose meals that match your lifestyle, whether you're going for calorie smart, protein plus, or even keto. They've got breakfast and snacks covered too. Ready to feel good, eat better, and skip the kitchen stress? Get started at factormeals.com/TRH50off and use code TRH50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code TRH50off at factormeals.com/TRH50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
The sessions came to an end after Diddy argued with Jonathan. He told News Nation that, quote, when I left, I knew that they were paranoid, so I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I text them, I said, if anything happens to me, I have evidence of being with you. Jonathan said to prevent the recording from being public, Diddy was inclined to reach a settlement in which Jonathan received $5 million. This settlement reportedly occurred in 2014, which is crazy because the video of the interrogation was in 2018. So he paid him in 2014.
Yeah. So like he's trying to do everything to like not get this out at that time.
Yeah. And in 2018, he's getting interrogated anyways. He's around the police. He's like, by the way, this is what happened. And then I wish you watched it, Chantel, because the police was like, okay, well, that's not why we're here. And I'm like, sir, let him speak. This is a big deal. The Daily Mail published a screenshot of what appears to be a signature page from the alleged settlement agreement signed by Diddy and Jonathan. In his interview with News Nation, Jonathan said his mental health is improving. Basically, the day the incident happened at Trump's National Doral, I had taken medication. I think I was bipolar. I wasn't sure. I had an episode, and basically, I've been taking my medication every day. I've been stable. I had no issues in jail. I have no bad incident behavior in jail. I'm feeling ready to come out in society and be a productive member of society. These type of things also like really F you up to become, the worst version of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being a part of that and then wanting, like, maybe you feel on a high for a little bit, but then you're like, ew, that's disgusting. And then you feel like, then you find out the truth and you're like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Do you know who else actually came out and tried to expose Diddy?
Who?
An A-list actor, Terrence Howard. He starred in Empire. Do you know who he is?
I mean, I used to watch a show, but which actor?
And he's the
Like,
main character.
oh, okay. I think I remember this actually. He had a lot going on.
So in his April 2025 appearance on the PBD podcast, Terrence Howard shared a detailed account of an alleged encounter with Diddy, describing it as an uncomfortable and inappropriate experience. He claimed that Diddy invited him multiple times under the guise of seeking acting coach. However, during these meetings, Howard reported that Diddy had no material to work on and simply would just stare at him, creating an unsettling atmosphere. He goes, I go there and he's sitting around just looking. And I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. According to Howard, his assistant eventually warned him that Diddy might have ulterior motives, suggesting, I think he's trying to F you. This prompted Howard to sever ties with Diddy, emphasizing his commitment to personal boundaries and integrity. He says, I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that. And then he swears, because the man card means everything. Howard further stated that he has faced similar situations with other industry figures, asserting that he does not compromise his values for career advancement. He emphasized that his man card is paramount, and he refuses to engage in roles or situations that conflict with his principle. And Chantel, yesterday you had brought this up, by the way, and you were talking about, you were like, who was that other guy who was involved in sex trafficking? And someone commented on our Patreon and they were like, it was R. Kelly.
Yeah, R. Kelly, exactly. He literally had a sex trafficking scheme too. Like people, it's a big deal. Like, I mean, sex trafficking has been around for a minute where like, I think even like, for example, like our hotel, because a lot of it happens in hotels, like you have to do a sex trafficking class. Every associate has to do one every year. So it's not even just like you do it once and you're done. You have to do it every year for signs, how to find it, what to do. And it's mostly someone who looks like they're consenting and like they're part of it, but they're really not. They're getting drugged up and having to take in part of these sexual acts.
Yeah. And R. Kelly's attorney has stepped in and he made a video and he said, if Diddy is found guilty, he 100% believes that Diddy is going to throw every celebrity under the bus who did anything similar.
Well, good. Let's that happen. Like, because those people need to be held accountable too.
Do you think that will that will end up happening?
I don't know. It just depends. But I mean, I know he's doing a lot of work behind bars, like telling people, like he's always on those phone calls and stuff. So I'm sure he has a plan, either or.
Yeah. There was another moment where Cassie's asked, like, your relationship ended in 2018. How was your health? And she says, I was sleepwalking. I had PTSD. And then the defense says objection and the judge has overruled. And then they show a photo and they're like, what's this? And she's like, a photo of my front door in 2018. And then they say, publish it to the jury. Why is there a knife there? She's like, Sean was coming around a lot, so I had it. And again, like as they're looking at these pictures, all of them are very unsettled, seeing all the photos that are coming with it. And then they say, August 2018, what happened? She's like, and this is when she talks about the closure conversation. She says, we were having a closure conversation at a restaurant in Malibu. He was trying to convince me to go to Burning Man. And then she's like, were you seeing anyone? She says, my husband. Then they say, what happened next? She says, Sean came to my house, raped me on the living room floor. That's when she says his eyes were black. He's like, you cried. What did Sean do? She's like, he continued and finished inside of me. Then he got up and then he left. And that's when they ask, did you ever have sex with him again? She's like, yes, voluntarily. We had a good night. I went back to his house. And then she's like, they say, can you explain why you did that after he raped you? This is what she says, because a lot of people are questioning this. And she says, we had been together 10 years and that's why. And then they say, who did you stay in touch with? She says, most people, though I pulled away. And they say, what did you message Sean about after that? She's like, just checking in. And then they ask, what did he send you? She's like, that he had iPads full of images. And I think of her conversation with her trainer and that he wants his money back. So they ask, money back for what? And then she's like, for having paid my now husband to be my trainer. And they say, what did you write back? She's like, do you want me to tell the truth? It's much deeper than iPads. There was abuse more than freak offs. She says, there was a time I couldn't take the pain, try to walk out in traffic. My husband wouldn't let me. I had trauma therapy. They said, did you write? She's like, a book with chapters. My mom helped. They're like, what did you want to do with the book? She's like, I wanted Sean to read it. And then they said, what pain did Sean put you through? She says, shame, to carry the things that were shameful for him. I took on a lot of responsibility for that I never should have. He brought the concept to me when I was 22. It was expected of me. I felt terrible. They said, what happened with the lawsuit? She said, it settled for $20 million in 24 hours. And then that's when they say, why are you testifying? And she's like, I can't carry this anymore. I tried people, like they were disposable, escorts, anybody. And yeah, that was another key point that people were talking about in detail on social media. So she's really been through it. And the only thing we can hope for is that the jury sees through this man. And again, it just makes me sick to my stomach that he has his kids like there in support. I would be so ashamed of this. My daughters that are 19 years old, I would be so, ashamed, traumatized. He has like a 2-year-old, and I think he's still like with that woman of the 2-year-old. I'm not for sure, but she's in pictures a lot with the whole family. And it's like, I wonder if she did that as well. Like she was in these freak offs before they had their baby girl. And then just with Kim Porter, Kim Porter was writing a book before she died, and Kimora Lee Simmons came out and said that there was a lot in that book. And I wonder what the hell Kim Porter went through and if she did those freak offs. I mean, I imagine Kim Porter was doing those things,
if it wasn't them doing them, and it was someone else, and like they knew about it, so like it made you probably feel sick to your stomach anyway. So like if he'd find probably another girl escort to do it with another guy escort, and like he's watching and maybe made the other woman watch her. They knew what was happening.
Yeah. And there has been speculation that Diddy has had relationships with males, but so far nothing has come out, in the trial where it says like he was doing things with men. But then, I mean, like you see the Terrence Howard thing and he's like, I know what he was trying to do. And that's what's also crazy. But yeah, I don't know, you guys. So sad, so heartbreaking. Imagine being 9 months pregnant, having to say all this to the world. 50 Cent, Chantel is going hard on Diddy, going hard.
He always has. And like, I were here for it. He's always clocked him, always.
Yeah.
You guys always. Like that man, like I swear, he knows more about Hollywood and all those people than anybody.
And he never changed. Like he's also like Terrence Howard, basically what Terrence Howard said. He's always been like that, where he's, and I'm shocked, like no one has kind of stopped 50, but 50 was the only one speaking out on Diddy when no one else was. So that's what's crazy to me. But we will continue to follow this.
I know, they should have him in court.
I know, right? Because he knows things for sure. And he hints some too. So, but yeah, today's cross-examination. I'm sure we'll be back with whatever happens Thursday, Friday. Probably next week we'll recap everything with that. But yeah, absolute trigger warning and a lesson to all of us. Over communicate with our children so that they're never in these situations, because it is so freaking common.
And to watch out for it.
Well, and this is just like this is just a side note, but my friend was telling me, she's like, you're so lucky you live right next to your kid's school. They're going to be in it until they're 8th grade. She's like, they can walk home from school every day because it's like in my backyard basically. But there's like a wood blocking it. So it's just like a street behind. And I was like, my children will never, ever walk home from school, even if it's just in the same street. Like they'll never, because I am just so paranoid. I don't trust anyone. There will be someone who will be at their house watching my kids and saying, oh, they leave school every day at this time. And even if they're like older, like my kids are not going to do that. And it's crazy, Chantel, because when we were young, I know this is kind of like a side note, unrelated thing, but I'm just saying as a parent, to kind of warn our kids about things that could happen no matter what it is. And, but as a kid, Chantel, like we were literally gone for 6 hours of the day and our parents had no idea and we had no phones.
I just like the only thing it's like even something small like that, it's like do we feel like we're stripping away their independence? Like how are they ever going to become confident individuals if like you can't allow them to walk, and it's not their fault. I know you're trying to protect them from other people, but it's like they don't know that. So like it's like they like when do they gain the confidence one day to like be able to do those things on their own?
And you know what? I'll take that risk over someone taking my kid and, raping my child or whatever, God forbid, or just the things that we've seen people do. I will take that. And no matter what, if you are parenting right and your kids respect you, they will understand whether I know they might have a rebellious stage, but they will understand why we did what we did. And I am going to be just that parent. And I don't know if it's the right thing, but this world is very, very scary right now.
I think I think it's just because your school is not even a school that a lot of people walk to and from. That's something for sure. But like I live in a neighborhood where there's so many schools around us. So you're like around 3:30, you're seeing multiple kids walking. So like it feels a little bit more safe. And it's like you don't know who's going where, and like there's so many schools and stuff. So like there's a lot of people watching, and like parents picking up their kids too. So.
My street is like the houses are
like your school's a little different. It's not a neighborhood.
Yeah, like if you are from Michigan, if it's like an up north, like the houses are very separated. Like we're on two acres. Like it's for us, that's like a lot for a yard and stuff. So and it's not like, it's people who have lived here since forever. It's it's not like the suburban families, like newer families coming. It's people who've stayed here and lived here and raised their family and our grandparents now. That's, I have like two like young families who just moved, but aside from that, but yeah. So follow us on this journey as we continue to talk on this. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know if there's anything else you want us to add to these. But we appreciate the support and stay tuned for more updates. Have a great day.
Guys.